we briefly revisit Liemann's laws observations. This is very important regarding this software evolution paradigm. Liemann's first observation is simply revisit the software system should continuously change. System should be continuously changed. If the program that is operating in the real world environment must change, otherwise it will gradually become less useful, meaning that customers will go away. If the system does not evolve, change as per the customer requirement, it will gradually die. That's very fair observation by Liemann. Second observation that as software grows, its complexity is increasing. Meaning that when you add more and more codes, modules, complexity is increasing. Therefore, you have to do some additional work to reduce this complexity. From this observation, we can make two decisions. One decision is that as software grows, its complexity is increasing. The consequence is that you have to put some extra effort to reduce the complexity. That means if the code structure is getting complex, you should make attempts to reduce the complexity. That means logic simple coding simple design diagram should not be complicated. The third observation, large program evolution is large program. Local systems ka evolution make self-controllable. That can be controlled by the programmer. The programmer who develop the system will introduce the errors to the system. The developer tamai system eකට errors introduce karana mate. Yaane liyanne program එක design errors introduced by the designer. So the whole authority is with the developer. His skills and his strength will contribute to reduce the design errors, coding errors. You have been asked to write a program. I will give a program to 2 persons. So you can write the program, but they will the code size of the program might be different. The person A developed the system and its code size is 300 kilobytes. The second person developed the program, its code size is 300.
Sir,
Yes.
excuse me. Sir, maybe we can't see screen.
Sorry. I share it. Can you now?
Yes, sir.
So first observation, I repeat that program system should be continuously changed to meet the real world challenges. If does not change, improve, customer will go away, abandon your product. Second observation is that as program evolve, improve, its complexity is increasing. It's very obvious. Improvements means you have to add new functionalities. Improvements means you have to add new functionalities. That means you have to add new codes. Alut program lines එකතු කරන්න ඕනේ. That will increase the size of the program and complexity. Programming එන සංකීර්ණ වෙනවා. So what is proposing that if program complexity increase, සංකීර්ණතාවය වැඩි වුණොත් එහෙම කියන්නේ කියන්නේ මේ සංකීර්ණතාවය අඩු කරන්න මොනවද කරන්න කියලා. Do something to reduce the complexity. For example, if a city is grown, more shops, more house, more shopping malls, more restaurants, more hotels, industries, government institution comes to the town, definitely the traffic congestion will be increasing. Handling the traffic in the town will be getting difficult and difficult. So you have to do something to reduce this traffic complexity. This is a very classical example I can give for this. Okay, town එක develop වෙනවා නම් ඒක අලුතෙන් දේවල් එකතු වෙනවා. In terms of functions, shopping and shopping malls, industry, offices, and restaurants and apartments, meaning that traffic is getting more and more difficult. That's an enhancement. In fact, that's an enhancement to the town. When you do that, other problems will come. So you have to do something, therefore, to reduce this traffic congestion. Same applies for software as well. Third observation that large program evolution is self-controllable. Evolution means improvements. Their code size is increasing. So given 2 programmers or 3 programmers or 4, 5, to solve the same problem, you ask to write a program for that. So they will come up with program with different byte size. ඔයගොල්ලෝ පස් දිනක් තෝරගෙන මම ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක ලියන්න කිව්වොත් එහෙම මොකක් හරි ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එකකට ඔයගොල්ලෝ සොලියුෂන් එක දෙනවා, you will do the solution, but byte size cannot be equal because the logic you have chosen might be different. The coding practices you have might be different. So you as a developer contribute for the size of the program in terms of byte. You as a developer is contributing for number of errors. The person one develop the system and the number of errors might be less. The same another person develop the system and number of errors found in that application is much larger. You write the program and another person write the program, errors introduced by the human being. That means number of errors can be controlled by the person who developed the system. That means errors are decided by the development team. Other thing, number of releases. I'll give some examples. Releases can summon software developer. We immediately list to the customer. If you have so many errors in the current release, which makes system is unusable for daily operations, then definitely you have to correct this faults immediately without going for the enhancement. Immediate release is required to fix the faults in the current release. Again, then errors is a system then what you have to do, definitely you have to fix them. So immediate another release is required simply to fix the bugs in this current release. The current release is very that release may be not have new tunes. Release errors fix that means there is a time gap between different releases. So this can be controlled. The time gap between releases can be controlled by the developer. The developer is introducing errors to the program, codes in the program, and next release will be decided by how much errors he has been contributed. In simple terms, program evolution can be controlled by the developer. Fourth one, over the lifetime of the program, rate of development should be at constant rate. The first observation saying that system should continuously change. The fourth observation is that as improvements goes on, do it in a constant rate. Don't do very big changes at once. Improvements are needed, but go at a constant speed, a constant rate. You can do that. Otherwise, not possible. For example, it's sometimes necessary. I can go a simple example that the people Windows operating system starts in 70s with those operating system. Then early 80s, graphical interface was incorporated for Windows. DOS, making DOS initial MS-DOS was purely command based. You have to type the command in the command prompt. You have to remember the command parameters. Without knowing the command and its parameters, you cannot do that. To overcome this problem, some kind of graphical user interface was incorporated to making Windows interfaces graphics oriented. That's a sudden jump. Take a look jump. You cannot avoid from that. It has to be done. Likewise, when come from Windows 3 and Windows 95 jump in 95 this happens because Windows 3 interfaces were not very good, and 95 was introduced to fix this. That's also very, in terms of user interfaces and other things, it's a very big improvement. That cannot also acceptable. So you can go for big changes unless otherwise not necessary. For marketing reasons or something. These are general observation. Do improvements at constant rate. But these are observations. Doesn't mean that you have to always do this. But in case requirements are there, you can go for sudden improvements. Fifth observation, conserve the familiarity. When you go forward, think about the back end. Your program can be improved. When you do improvement, try to preserve the familiarity, because users get used to the current release of your system. Users we have been using and get used to the current release. If you suddenly release completely something new thing, they cannot use it. The interface තනිකර වෙනස් වුණොත් එහෙම දැන් කරන්ට් රිලීස් එක වැඩිය ඉස්සරහ රිලීස් එක වෙනස් වුණොත් එහෙම people use කරන්න බෑනේ. They totally get unfamiliar because they are familiarized with current release. If you next release completely change, you will lose. So when you go forward, don't forget about the familiarization. Try to preserve the familiarity of the end user on your software. He is using your functionality, graphical user interface, and other features are using. And currently he is using some methods and a picture around the interface. The interface of Windows OS start කරාම එන ස්ක්‍රීන් එක මොකක්ද කියලා MS Office start කරාම එන ස්ක්‍රීන් එක අපි දන්නවා. එකපාරටම මේ තව OS තව මේ Word release එකක් આવුත් some completely different interface at the start, people get confused and they will not use it. The interface improvements gradually you do it, so that you make sure that past users will go forward with your product. The sixth observation that system should be continuously growth to increase the user satisfaction. Program should be continuously improved in order to make sure that user satisfaction is maintained. seventh observation, as program goes, its quality is decline. Quality decline means in terms of the program structure, not about the performance of the program. Other non-functional qualities about the program structure, about design structure. As far as adequate hard drives available, you can improve the program without hampering its system qualities like performance, usability. The last observation is that as program goes, get the feedback of the end users. Always get the feedback of the end user when you go forward, marching forward. Address the comments from the user. User is giving some comments, you address them, take into account for the improvements. Then only you have a forward march. So these are 8 observations of Leemans. So Leemans has done these observations for large systems like banking systems, insurance, where lifetime is very large. But it is not, we cannot apply this observation rule for any class of software. If the lifetime of software is very low, 2-3 years, these are not valid. These are general observation about software systems who has a long lifetime, larger customer base, and very big transaction volume. If the system has very short lifetime, they may not be applicable. Maybe some of them are applicable, but no studies has been done on that. So also I mentioned that fine program improvement, this classical example we can give to highlight some of the observation in Leemans laws observations. This diagram shows the growth of this fine email program over the period from 1993 mid to 2000, just like 7 years period. Apart from the fact that the initial period here from 1993 to 94, there's a very big growth. So in the y-axis, it is product number of modules. In the x-axis, the time. X-axis is time and y-axis is the number of modules. You can see within very short period of time, just 1 year time, the number of modules has increased rapidly, meaning that new function features are added too much. I should not too much, but many new features were added. Since then, there is a continuous growth, not constant growth, but there is a growth, but at a constant speed. Constant speed. The may growth improvement at constant rate. Constant rate constant speed right? Constant rate improvement improvement rate constant. If the straight line goes upward with like 30 degrees angle, it's like improvements are there, go on increasing, not flat rate. Flat කියන්නේ හැමදාම එක වගේ. හැමදාම එක වගේ. නමුත් මෙතන improvement එකක් තියෙනවා at a constant rate. උදාහරණයක් විතර you have a vehicle, you then use a push cycle at the beginning, then you go for motorcycle, then you go for a small car, then you go for more advanced car, then you go for this high-end jeeps like from so you have a gradual improvement. You have a bicycle, push bicycle, then a motorcycle, then small car, then more advanced car. Then you move to this Pajeros and so on. That's an improvement at constant rate. But suddenly, if you from cycle to this Pajero vehicle, that's a big improvement. Simple example like that, you can improvement like common constant rate pe none gila. So मैं example लेके थी मैं diagram में देखे पैदल करती ना मैं system में के मैं गोत्या पिलाती ना मैं एक constant rate पे करता मैं वेल्लाती ना except the first period there's a big improvement. There are no statistics after 1999 meaning that I think this I've been using this this email pine during the 90s, but this was not available after this time because obvious reasons. Some other software pick up that, replace this Pine software. So this was vanished. I think that's why we don't have this data after that. No one is using this software at the moment. So popular emails clients are at the moment Gmail and this Outlook and things like that. Then also I highlighted different kind of maintenance work, corrective maintenance, adaptive maintenance, perfective maintenance, preventive maintenance. So I think I gave some examples regarding examples for maintenance work. Y2K problem, yes, matter of the year, date and time, happened in 2000. this was discussed, I guess. Please go to this slide, corrective maintenance, adaptive, perfective, and preventive maintenance. Take 3 minutes. So corrective maintenance refers to maintenance for a software faults. To identify some faults in the program and fix it. Adaptive maintenance refers to adapting the system for new environment. Like new operating system comes on, you change the program to make sure that it can be used in the new OS, new hardware. Adaptation to new changes, new environmental changes. Perfective maintenance means perfecting the software to add new features, new requirements, to make the system more perfect. That means the current system is not inadequate, but it's adequate, but try to do improvements, adding new things, enhancement, perfect, to make it more perfect from the current state. Preventive maintenance means change the software to avoid future failures. So we have corrective maintenance, adaptive maintenance, perfective and preventive maintenance. Can you try this exercise? In terms of ආලෝක මේ එක්සැම්පල් එක කරාද මන් දන්නේ නැහැ. මම කලින් මේක කරා මිනාති නම් කරමයි. අර මං කියන්නේ corrective maintenance, adaptive, perfective, preventive කියලා. ඒ හතරට සාපේක්ෂව මේ එක්සැම්පල් එක මම කරාද? ස්ලයිඩ් එක කරා මේ කලින් මම ප්‍රශ්න එකේ කරා මේ corrections and adaptions are formally we define four type of maintenance. With respect to that, we try this. You can retry this one with respect to the four types of maintenance work. Corrective maintenance meaning that you do correction to your program. There are faults in the program. Corrections has to be done. Adaptive means changes are doing to the program to adapt to new operating systems and new hardware. Perfective means adding new features to the system, making that program is improved. And prevention, I think prevention is not mentioned. Prevention is the prevention action you take to avoid future failures. With respect to that, can you identify what type of maintenance work? This is perfective or preventive or corrections or adaptive? Atrat Pino, corrections, adaptation, prevention, and perfection. Please try this exercise. Take few minutes. Jayani, ආලෝක මේ question try කරන්න බලන්න පොඩ්ඩක්. So first question, when a receipt are printed at a food store, if the customer name exceeds certain length, then the purchase price does not fit on the receipt and it's not printed. This does not occur very frequently, at most once a week. This situation leads to out of four maintenance type: corrective, adaptive, perfective, preventive. What do you suggest? It said that this occurs at most once a week.
Perfective.
Yeah, most preferable answer is perfective because not frequently happen. Somebody can argue this as a interface design error because we are not allocate adequate space for the printing the name of the customer in the output. In that sense, there's no logical errors on the program, but could be a error in the interface design, not adequate space has been assigned. But I prefer the answer perfective. That means 99% time it's working, printing correctly. So one occasion, if the customer name is larger, long, it will not properly printed because format problems. Correction means if you are to argue correction means you have to take the side of there is a interface design error. Interface has been properly not designed. The bit of the name has not correctly identified. If you allocate 30 characters for the name length, then we have to take additional actions during implementation. So make sure that you don't accept more than 30 characters. So you have a template is designed and customer name is not printed at all. කියන මෙතන එතකොට මේ ඩිසයින් එකේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ අන්තිමට සින්නක් ගන්නවනේ මේක තමයි රාමෝ කියලා. එතකොට නම print කරලා තියෙන 30 characters නම් 30 characters has to be printed. The most preferred answer is perfectiveness, but somebody can argue it's like a correction to the interface design. Second question. Why are requirements errors are generally more expensive to repair? Why are requirements errors generally among the most expensive errors to repair? That means you are doing a mistake at requirements level. You are doing a mistake at requirement engineering process. So what is the answer for the, let's see, D suggested the problem is that if you do mistakes at requirements level and you start development of the project, you do some mistake at the requirements level and you start developing the project, then you go ahead with the design. That means because of requirements error, you make the design errors. You start with set of requirements, but there are errors in the requirements. Then you go for the next step, design. The requirements errors might contribute to design errors. Design errors might contribute to coding errors. Coding errors might contribute to testing errors because a lot of testing effort has to be made to correct errors in the code. That means if make a requirement errors in the requirement process, it propagate to other phases, design, coding, testing, and further maintenance. That means because of the requirement errors, design errors happens. Because of design errors, coding errors happens, and this propagate. It's very costly, therefore, if you want to make happen to make requirement errors. It's correcting requirement errors will need correction for design, coding, and testing, and so on. So therefore, it's an expensive process. A. Because requirements errors likely lead to extensive system redesign. System has to be restructured because of that, to address that problem. Right? 2A. Third one, straightforward as per distribution of maintenance effort, what type of maintenance has consumed the maximum share? Basically, my question is side again, it's a perfection. Most effort and cost has to be to make your software more perfect maintenance. Roughly it is 60% of the whole effect, and adapt to corrective are take an equal chance. fourth one, what is the incorrect statement with regard to maintenance cost? B වැරදි chart එක අනුව බැලුවම මේ corrective maintenance තමයි අඩුවම ගන්න මේ percentage එක. Perfective තමයි question 3 එකේ තියෙනෙත් ඒකනේ. question 3 එකේ අනුව perfective maintenance තමයි වැඩිම cost contribution එකක් තියෙන්නේ. Corrective adapt to එකම level එකේ තියෙන්නේ. So B out of the equation, corrective maintenance are the highest cost කියන එක වැරදි ඒක. Perfection තමයි highest percentage ගන්නේ. C ගත්තොත් cost incurred adding new functionality to code the highest maintenance cost. මෙතන accept කරන්න පුළුවන් reachable answer කියන්නේ C කියන එක. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අර distribution එක ගත්තොත් maintenance cost එක adding enhancement තමයි is the highest contribution. I see. Sorry. Yeah, you correct. Correct එක නෙමෙයි incorrect ගන්න. So C is correct. B තමයි උත්තරේ. Corrective maintenance cost is higher, highest maintenance cost is wrong. You are correct. එතන incorrect අහන්න නිසා මේ B තමයි උත්තරේ. මේ යටතින් තුනම හරි A, C, D correct. B is incorrect. You are correct. Then continue with the next discussion, factors affecting the higher maintenance cost. What are the factors that contribute for a higher maintenance cost? Team stability. If you can employ same staff for the maintenance work, if you can employ the same staff who do the development work for the maintenance work, definitely you can reduce the maintenance cost because they are the people who design, implemented and tested. Then they have an overall knowledge about the system structure, its behavior. If problem comes, the persons who wrote the code can very easily locate the fault and fix it rather than it is be taken by a new person. That means maintenance cost can be reduced if the same staff can be involved for the same staff means development staff can employ for the maintenance cost can be reduced. How this happen? Usually happen is after system is deployed, developed and deployed, people who do the development work will not be within the organization. That means you may not be able to find persons who involved in the development team for the maintenance work. It will be taken by new people. So if the work is taken by new people, and they don't have any understanding about the design and code structure and the entire problem. So they have to do re-study regarding the design taken. So lot of effort has to made for this. The overall system can maintain the you may be a programmer, a good designer, but if you have been asked to maintain a program which we have never seen earlier. So you have to go through the design and coding to understand the entire structure before doing any maintenance work, touching your code. ඔයගොල්ලෝ හොඳ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑමින් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඩිසයින් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නමුත් තමන් නොදකපු දෙයක් මේන්ටේන් කරන්න කියලා කිව්වම you have to go through a re-study. That takes time and effort. So team stability is contributing factor to reduce the maintenance cost. Meaning that if you can employ the same staff for the maintenance, that will definitely helping reduce the maintenance cost. If new staff is taken, definitely it is increasing. Second factor, contract responsibilities. කලින් තාපු සයිට් එක පෙන්නුවා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් when you are at the development level, you have to take some extra effort to create a system that can easily maintain in the future. The system structure, program structure, design and program has to be in a way that try to reduce errors at the design and coding and try to create a program that is easily maintained in the future. ඉතින් අපි මේ දැන් ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකක් හදනවා ඉස්සරහට බලාගෙන. It's not only for software. Let's say you create some hardware device, whatever hardware device, make sure that you use the maximum reliable components. Why use these maximum reliable components? Because you want to avoid maintenance work in the future. If you use poor, unreliable, low quality devices, then definitely they will collapse and maintenance will comes. යක් හදනකොටත් මේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඉතින් if you can දුරක් දාන කොස් දාන්න ඕනේ right ජනන දුරක් කොස් එක දුවත් එහෙම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් බලක් ඉන්න පුළුවන් නේ. If you use low quality materials, definitely lifetime will reduce, making maintenance issues. Likewise, when software is designed and developed, if you have the contract responsibility, contractor do not them, so you get the development contract and maintenance contract both together. ඒතර ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නකොල maintenance contract ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒතර ඔයගොල්ලෝ extra effort එකක් දානවා maintenance cost එක අඩු කරන්න. If the maintenance contract is removed from you, you don't care about the maintenance. Because you are not committed for the maintenance work. If you are committed, then you do something at development level to reduce the maintenance cost. The contract agreement will contribute for this. But we cannot generalize this, make a general observation එකක් හොනේ. මේක generalize කරන්න බෑ. Staff skills also, the capabilities, capacity of the staff also contributing for reduce the maintenance cost. If you employed unskilled people, less experienced people for the maintenance, it will contribute to increase of maintenance cost. But if you can employ skilled people who have better knowledge and experience, that will contribute to reduce the maintenance cost. Samanyan, among the developers, people wants to go for development teams, join for development teams. So no one wants to be in the maintenance staff. මොකට මේ අන්නෝන development වලට අත් මේක talk about programs no මේක එහෙම හරියන්නේ නැහැ maintenance work එක කියන්නේ වැඩ කරනවා එක maintenance කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඉතින් code structure ගැන idea එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ code එක ගැන idea එකක් නැත්නම් කොහොමද program එක වෙනස් කරන්නේ මේක මේ lift එක maintain කරනවා වගේ වැඩක් නෙමෙයි මේක. නැත්නම් මේ කාර් එකක් maintain කරන වැඩක් නෙමෙයි. garage එක service station එක service provider තෙල් මාරු කරන engine check කරන ඒ වගේ වැඩක් නෙමෙයි. Staff skills are required. In that, maintenance staff should have the similar kind of skill as development staff. So if you can employ the skill staff, that will contribute to reduce the maintenance cost. Then program structure and age. Program age here means since the deployment, once it has been put into operational use, how long it goes until it dies. Software deploy කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ it's put into operational use. එදා පටන් මෙයක් කොච්චර කල් යයිද? Simple example is that if you take Windows operating system, what is its age? The age of Windows is still live. Windows sama manisila nahe, still live. පටන් ගත්තේ 1.70 ගණන්වල MS DOS වලින්. DOS වලින් පටන් අරගෙන Windows ඇවිල්ලා 95 එහෙම series එක ඇවිල්ලා දැන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා මේ Windows 10.9 දක්වා. So Windows is a program that is still live since it's born. The client program එක මම කලින් දාපු එකේ is already dead program. Okay, software තියෙනවා පොත ඇහිලා ගියේවා. I can remember I used a word processor called Word Perfect in early 90s. I don't think that is being used by anyone. I haven't seen it live. That is dead. Program age here means since the beginning as goes in continuous life, its structure might contribute for maintenance. As you are doing improvements, you are doing changes to the code, design, making the program so complex. That's one observations in Lehman's laws. Fourth observation, second observation, as program goes, its complexity is increasing. As complexity is increasing, Lehman suggests the 7th law එක ගත්තොත් මෙයා කියන්නේ program quality එක අඩු වෙනවා කියලා. Decline the quality. If program quality is declined, it would make maintenance difficult. More codes adding and more classes, programs, packages adding to your Java application means system getting stuck. Complex and overall structure might contribute to high maintenance cost. Complexity වැඩි වුණාම එතකොට maintenance effort එක වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. That will contribute to higher cost. So 4 factors are contributing for maintenance cost: team stability, contract responsibility, staff skills, and program age means its life so far and its structure. What are the factors affecting to reduce maintenance costs? Reduce what are the factors affecting reduced maintenance cost? Module independence. Later, we are going to elaborate more on these issues. It should be possible to change one module without affecting other module. If one module you want to change, if it is affecting a lot of other modules, that will create a issue in maintenance cost. So your maintenance means that software is the operational, it's using now. Programming program correction is required. A correction effect they also should be corrected. No? You identify at the maintenance there's a problem with the module A. So do the correction for that. If it is affecting other modules, they has also need to be corrected. The modules are independent as much as possible. Independent means I don't depend on you, you don't depend on me. We can talk about this dependency later on in this degree program later on. Simply speaking, it should be possible to change one module without affecting other modules too much. If you can do that at 0 level, change one module, if it is not affecting other module, that definitely can reduce the maintenance cost. But if you change one module, if it is affecting 10 other modules, you have to address that in other modules as well. That will increase the cost, maintenance cost. If you can make module independent as much as possible, then maintenance effect can be reduced and cost can be reduced. In fact, programming language, in fact, this one is not relevant for this programming languages. Almost all high-level programming languages provide platforms, tools for creating maintainable program through their IDs. Programming style. Well-structured programs are easy to maintain. Well-structured means try to decompose your program modules into smaller modules. Have a clear relation among them. කියන්නේ main program එක තියෙනවා main program එකේ ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා sub modules. The sub modules වලට වෙනම programs තියෙනවා. Let's say simple case we have the main program within the main program I have 3 sub modules A B C D 4. For each sub module you separate write a different program. B වලට තව program එකක් තියෙනවා. එකම program එකට ඔක්කොම දාන්න නැතුව for each submodule you have a different package or project or whatever it is. That is structured program. That kind of program is easy to maintain. ඔක්කොම unit modules ඔක්කොම එකට දාන්න නැතුව වෙන වෙන separate කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් you can reduce the maintenance cost. Program validation and testing. This is a very obvious thing. If you do proper testing validation work, that means you identify more and more errors. Less errors in your current release version means less maintenance work. So more and more testing and validation will contribute to reduce maintenance cost. Documentation. Good documentation contributes to healthy maintenance. So if you can maintain good documentation, that will help to reduce the maintenance cost. So we'll forget about the second one here. Configuration management we will discuss later on. Make up application domain. So maintenance cost depends on the application domain. For very well understood applications, for example, library system, inventory, you found less errors and they would be very easy to maintain. If you get some complex applications like flight control systems, real-time systems like weapon systems, so nature kind of application will contribute for higher maintenance cost. So in this last few slides, we have focused on what factors are contributing for higher maintenance costs. what factors are contributing for lower the maintenance cost. Among them, module independence, programming languages, programming style, testing and validation, documentation. Forget about configuration management, we'll discuss later on. Application domain. Also the environmental factors and hardware stability. If the program depends on its external environment heavily, whenever the external environment change, program has to be changed. That means maintenance. For example, business applications are heavily dependent on the environment, basically hardware environment and communication environment. The internet, mobile technology has heavily influenced the business operations. Because payments are going on internet mode or mobile mode. Also in terms of operational hardware like computer hardware like CPU and other memory and so on. If the program has to be run on certain environment, like operating system, certain hardware, certain communication environment. So you have a hardware environment, communication environment. If this changes, you have to do maintenance to keep the system alive. So external environment contribute for higher maintenance cost. In other words, reduce maintenance cost. Then hardware stability. Again, I said, if the hardware is oftenly changed, meaning that the processors, the RAMs and hard disks, their capacity, their strength. And their type is changing. For example, Macintosh, Intel, if it is changed oftenly, then you have to do one to address them. That will contribute to reduce maintenance cost. If the hardware is unstable, will require change of software. Unstable hardware is changing always. If it is changed, you have to do something to change your software. Otherwise, program is getting unusable.